Hello, my name is Father Demetri Glimidakis here in Lakeland, Florida. So today we're doing the next verse of the Sermon on the Mount, which is, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." One of the things that always reminded me about this verse is when I was in school, when I was in Hellenic College, Holy Cross, my spiritual father at the time had told me when he first was ordained that when the altar boy handed him the censer in the back of the altar, that he actually kissed the altar boy's hand. Well, this stuck with me. This stuck with me all these years. I mean, it's been 20 some years since I've been in seminary, and it stuck with me what he had told me. And one of the first sermons that I had ever given was I did not want to forget where I came from. I didn't want to forget that I was once the altar boy in the back of the altar. And I said, a teacher should never forget that they were once the student. The police officers should never forget that they were once the troubled kid. And one of the biggest ones is the parent should never forget that they were once a child. Because oftentimes we forget where we came from. And oftentimes we find ourselves in a position, especially when we're working somewhere, even in the church, we all want to look good. We all want to feel good about ourselves. And oftentimes we get tempted a lot by possibly putting somebody else down or putting somebody else a little bit lower than you so that you might be able to get a higher recommendation or a better recommendation from a superior. But really, that's not what it's all about. We're supposed to be merciful. We're supposed to be these people that reflect Jesus. It's hard, but it's hard oftentimes to reflect Jesus Christ in every circumstance in your life. But I think that's why we have time. I realize that our lives can be ended at any moment. Our lives can end at any time, but God does give us a little bit of this mercy and a little bit of this time to change who we are and what we're doing. And one of the biggest things is being merciful to people. I know that oftentimes I have wanted to be angry at people, and I've wanted to do and say things that I shouldn't do. But I often remember, thank God, in the nick of time, not always, but in the nick of time, usually I remember, wait a minute, I may have done this one time. I may have been that person that I didn't want to be as well. And oftentimes when I am tempted not to forgive somebody, I remember the sacrifice that Jesus made for me. What am I going to do? Should I do anything less for the person that is before me? I've made the same mistake over and over and over again. And as a matter of fact, I know that Jesus, when he was talking to Peter, he told Peter, I don't want you to forgive just 7 times. I want you to forgive 70 times 7 times. That's what he's done for me. That's what Jesus has done for every one of us. Every one of us has fallen short of the grace, and every one of us has fallen short of the gift that was given to us. So I try to be merciful. I try very hard to be a merciful man. I try very hard to be the man that I am supposed to be. Mercy is not for the weak. Mercy is for the strong. Oftentimes, forgiving somebody is the hardest thing that you can do. Being merciful, being loving, being kind, showing those fruits of the Spirit, those are sometimes the hardest things that we possibly can do to other human beings, especially when they've hurt us and especially when they've betrayed us or just been cruel to us. And I think we've all experienced that one time or another. And oftentimes I just try to remember how merciful God has been to me. How many times that I've gone before him, before the throne of grace, and asked forgiveness for the same thing I've done over and over and over again. He never gets tired of hearing it. He never gets tired of being merciful to me. I get tired of just saying it. I get tired of asking God to forgive me because I don't want to do those sins anymore. I don't want to be the person I was yesterday, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't want to be the person I was 20 years ago. I want to be, and I want to look for the man that I am supposed to be today, and then reflect on him for the man that I'm supposed to be tomorrow. I'm not supposed to compare myself to anybody else. So as I reflect on my life, I reflect on the fact that I try very hard to be like Jesus, and I try my best to serve him with my heart. So I pray that this has helped you a little bit. Be merciful to the people that need to be merciful to, because when you do, you will obtain that same mercy in return. So may the Lord bless and protect you. Christ is risen.